It's really fucking laughable that it's only white people equating slavery to owning an abortion. Not once have I heard one black or woman of color.
Faith, do you want to come up here? Because apparently color matters.
I would like to hear from a woman of color why
Sure,
that
Faith,
isn't racist.
come on up here.
I would rather hear that.
Go ahead, Faith.
What's so funny?
Why are you pro-life, Faith?
Yes, thank you.
I am pro-life because life begins in the womb at conception. And I think that our personhood, our rights should not be based on having to be human plus something else. That's exactly what happened with slavery, where we were told that you have to be human plus not black. And now we're saying that you have to be human plus a certain age, or human and in a different location. And so really what abortion is age-based discrimination.
Black people weren't seen as humans.
They weren't seen as human beings.
Black people were not seen as humans.
They were like.
The Supreme Court actually said that they were 3/5 a human person. Just like how you all have denied that a child in the womb is a human person.
No, it's not. It's not a human.
That's fundamentally incorrect. What is it? What is a child in the womb? Is it a koala bear? When I get pregnant, am I pregnant with a koala bear? I'm pregnant with a member of our species.
A fetus of a dolphin looks the same as a fetus that's a human. You literally can't tell them apart because it's not human yet. It's not.
Does somebody else have a question?
I just want to note that as a black woman and as a person who got my degree in biology, life does begin at conception.
I love how this, what was she wearing? But I couldn't even tell what she had written on her stomach. But I love how she gets up here, this leftist, and she screams, "I demand a black woman speaks." And then a black woman speaks and she says, "What? Not like that. Oops. Whoopsies." Because they all have this the white leftists, they all, usually a lot of them are very privileged. They come from wealthy or well-to-do backgrounds, and they have this like white guilt, white savior complex about them, most of them. Especially if you look at a lot of the folks that are arrested from Antifa, they're actually like privileged, rich white kids. Because they all have this white savior complex. But this woman who got up there so bravely and spoke to this deranged lunatic was spot on, you know? And so often in our country's history, whether it's black people, whether it's women, the worst civil rights violations in our country's history have happened when we try to determine who is or who is not worthy enough of personhood. And I don't think the issue of abortion is any different. And, you know, people can debate this issue. But what's interesting to me, too, is that they never talk about the effects of abortion on women. Right? Their premise is that this is women's rights. It's about women, but they rarely, so often the conversation goes to whether or not it's a life, which these people are just not going to agree with it. They've made up their mind. It is a clump of cells. That's what they believe. I disagree, but that's where they're at. But they never talk about whether or not abortion is good for women. They almost pass it off as if it is. And so often I talk to women who've gotten abortions and they say, "I didn't realize how painful it was going to be, both emotionally and physically." They didn't realize how hard abortion was because of lunatics like this screaming that it's just women's rights. Abortion is women's rights. This is a very sad reality. And nobody talks about women in all of this. Except that it's our right to not have children. It's our right to not make responsible choices. It's our right. And they parade victims of abuse around on this issue too, despite that being less than 1% of all abortions. Most abortions are made for economic reasons, which I think is inherently evil. I think it's a very evil thing to tell people that no kids or dead kids are better than poor kids. I think that's very elitist. Very elitist from the party of Eat the Rich, right? And I'll tell you, children throughout all of history have had much harder times than being quote-unquote poor in America. Even the poorest in America are richer than most of the world. Absolutely absurd argument, and I think it's evil. I think people need to have more children. We are living through idiocracy is now becoming a prophecy more than anything. I think we should have more children. God bless this woman for speaking up, and I hope the other woman changes her mind. I think she'll calm down once she has children.